Now let's go ahead and transform blades from robot mode to his up mode. Okay, so the first thing, we need to remove all these accessories, and this is not as simple as just untab this, because here, and I'm pointing things out, you want to apply force to pull it out, but very carefully and cautiously, under control. And you could see I'm waggling this up and down whilst I'm pulling it out, and that's because of the thin plastic and how long it is. So this is prone to breakage just from even handling the figure. If I push it out this way, I'm going to cause a crack and a break there. So here you want to carefully remove this. This is not as simple as just untab this. And there's the evidence how you're handling the figure. So here now, just waggle this out to carefully remove that. And then the gun on his hand, this is pretty easy because this is not tolerance very well. So you could pretty much twist that out like so. And then here, now I'm going to point out some things with the blades here. So first of all, you saw me just pull this out. That is actually to lock this one side of the blade from moving. It doesn't prevent this side from moving down. And I'm just letting you know, technically you can transform this with the blades attached. So when you start with the lower legs first, you want to make sure the blades stay up, which is going to be challenging because they're going to be moving around as you're manipulating down here. After you get this done, then you want to rotate these blades down and then start manipulating the upper part. But like I said, I mean, it just kind of gets in the way back and forth, and you might run the risk of breaking even this piece, this thin piece of plastic, just by accidentally hitting it. So it's probably a good idea to just remove these also. And these blades, grab close to the joint, push down to untab it, and do the same on the other side, like so. And then here, this piece, this locking piece, it doesn't matter if it's out or in, so you could just leave it either way. And then now we can start with the transformation, starting with the lower part. So here first, spread his legs out a little bit at an A stance so we have some room. And here I want to point things out. You need to rotate this crotch area around 180. But here, this is the facing forward. So I like to keep it so you could follow, but I'm pointing it out. So here, grab the sides of his hips and his crotch, and you want to apply force to pull down under control. Don't just apply force and then it goes all the way down there. That's how you might damage and break something. So under control, bring it down, and then rotate it around 180. And then you want to grab these hips and then under control, apply force to push it back up till it locks in place. And now you could see his lower legs are backwards. So now come back so the lower legs are forward. Now the front is facing back. Now we could start with these lower legs. We'll start with this side first. So first here, you want to bring down his foot on that double hinge. And then on the outer part of the foot, it's going to be a little hard to hold and do this at the same time, but you want to pull back to untab this piece here. And then you want to open this all up to the inside, like so. And then after that, now lift the foot up so we can come to the bottom. And then you want to bring out this panel piece. And then this piece has a little panel piece that you also want to fold out as well. And then we can bring this foot back down, facing forward. And then we come to the inner part here. Make sure you have the legs at an A stance because you need the clearance here. And then here, this little tab, you want to untab it slowly, carefully, under control, because you don't want to just untab it. And then when you do, there's a tab here that goes in. It's kind of hard to get out. And the easy way, you can just, as you're pulling this up, under control, you could see it will untab this. And then once you untab it, now you see you're bringing this up. And this piece, there's two things you're trying to do at the same time. Here, this top piece, you could see it's supposed to rotate around 180. But then this piece is a panel piece that needs to fold in. So as you're rotating it, this piece needs to fold in. And basically, you're just trying to fold this up on top of each other like so. And then you could bring this down 90 degrees like so on this hinge here. So you're bringing it down 90 degrees like so. And then here we want to open this back part of the legs. So bring this down, get some more room, and then come back to his foot. And you could see this hinge. Now you want to rotate this foot in, and then this black hinge, you want to rotate it up so you could continue to rotate this around. And then now we're going to flip this over so that the foot is going to go on top over the screw right there. So get that tab to go up over. Once you got that, then these panel pieces, now you want to fold these in on itself to form this L shape like so. And then now we can make sure the legs are spread out of A stance. Here, this you want to rotate the die-cast piece here down. Actually, no, this is it this way or this way? It's this way. And then there's this hinge here, and you want to rotate this around. But here I'm pointing things out. You could see it's catching. You need the clearance. And so you come up here to the thigh, and here you want to do two clicks this way, and that is part of the transformation. And then now we can come back here to this hinge here, and this is going to rotate around, and you could see now we have some clearance to bring this all the way around to the other side, but you don't really have the clearance here, so you just need to be mindful of how you're bringing this across. And you're basically trying to get it like this. And the correct orientation, you could see that white peg right there should be next to this the screw right there. After we got this, then let's get this all stayed in position. Now we want to open up these pieces, and there's two parts here. There's the small tail piece that comes out, and then there's this piece on this double hinge that needs to extend out like so, and it does tab in place. And then coming back to the tail on that double hinge, let me make sure I'm grabbing in the good place. This double hinge, you want to bring it up, and then here you want to rotate it or down 180, and then you can open up these propellers here like so. And then now we can close this up by lifting this piece up, and this is going to be the outer part of the helicopter, the back. And make sure you get this tabbed in all the way. And then this I don't know, this tail piece, you want to bring it forward, and then you want to rotate it around. This piece might just keep falling, but you're going to fix it probably at the end again. So we got one leg done, and then we come to the other side, pretty much the same thing. So here, bring down this foot, and then you want to lift it up and come to the bottom, bring down this panel piece, and then there's another panel piece in here that you want to flip open like so. And then now this foot, you want to come to the outer part of the foot, and let's see if I can hold this safely here, so I can untab here the outer part, and then open this up to the inside like so. And then see, you have to be very careful where you're grabbing things. And then now we're going to open up this piece. This one, it doesn't tab in here, it actually tabs in here. So, and I don't know if you could see, but there's the little tab that goes into the slot in here. And then when you're lifting this up, like I said, this piece, it tabs in here, but you can untab it easily if you just apply force under control here to untab that. And then now you could see when you're lifting this up, this top piece rotates around 180, but then this piece needs to rotate, fold in. So you're doing two at the same time. So basically you're rotating it, folding that panel in, basically having this fold in on top of each other like so. And then you can bring this down and now come back down to the foot, and on that hinge you want to rotate it, and then on the black hinge rotate it up and then rotate it again, so that now we can rotate it on this one so that the foot is going to sit on top of that screw. After we got that, then these pieces, you want to bring these back in, fold it in to form this L shape like so. And then this piece, yeah, it's on a pin, so be careful. You can bring it down all the way like so. Now this engine piece, you want to carefully bring it up because it might catch, but you need to bring it up 90 degrees. And then after you bring it up, then you need to rotate it around 180. And on the outer part there, it needs to be rotated around 180 to complete the shape of this engine piece like so. And then coming down here, you want to bring this down. It actually tabs in here. This, this thing keeps hitting right here. That white post tabs in there, so you're basically pulling it down to untab it. And then here you want to I keep forgetting, is it up or down, but basically make sure you have the A stance, because remember you need the clearance when you're rotating on this hinge. You could see this foot needs to have that clearance to go all the way around to the other side, and like so. And here I'll just point this out real quick. You do the 2 clicks on this thigh, and that's to get this angle for the foot. So this, I'm just pointing out something I just observed. It's just the way they designed it. It's kind of interesting. But anyways, after you got that, then this the tail piece, you want to bring this down on that double hinge like so. And then we can lift this whole piece up here, and you always be mindful of the clearance, because if you're not, you might accidentally crack or break something. So just make sure you always have the clearance. Once you get it up, then make sure all of this gets tabbed in, especially right here. You could see there's a little tab that's supposed to go in underneath this engine piece here, and you want to do it carefully, under control. This is one of those bending the plastic over the plastic kind of thing. And let's see if I can find a way to get that to go in there. Yeah, till it tabs in place so it's nice and flush. And then this piece, like I said, this, you might have to readjust this at the end, but open that, flip open that tail and then rotate it up. And then after that, now we can bring these 2 leg pieces together, and you just need to find all the tabs and the slots where these are going to connect together. And also be mindful of this bottom piece, and see this piece, things are not really toleranced very well. They're loose, so even after you manipulate them, they just might come unfolded by itself. So you just need to be mindful as you're manipulating this. And then you want to get these pieces tabbed in together here, and you want to do it very carefully, just to make sure you're being safe with all of this. And yeah, let me double check something. Yeah, that white peg is there where it's supposed to be. Yeah. Well, I don't know why it wasn't tabbing in together, but basically you're trying to get these together nice and safe. And just like on the other side, this side also the same thing. You want to get this piece to go up and under and in like so. And you have to take your time and be patient, because I know how people can break things because they're very impatient. Takes up a lot of your precious time. But yeah, I don't want to break my figure, so I'm going to do this very safely. And like I said, things don't, so till you get that part nice and flush like so. And like I said, this piece you're probably going to have to readjust all of these because this doesn't lock in place and stuff. So now we got the lower part done, and here I just want to point out things. Now we need a clearance up here, so, and this arm is loose. You want to bring it down, but this is as far as it goes down. You could see it doesn't go down more. So now we got all of that, and this is going to be a challenge here because this tail, you see, how do you see what I'm doing up there? So now let's come up a little bit, see if this will help. Okay, and now we could start up here. And so the first thing, rotate his head around 180. And then these arms. So these arms, so first come to the hand, open the hand, the fingers, and then fold in the thumb, and then fold in these fingers. And then on the outer part, there's the panel piece that opens up. So you could fold in the hand and then close that panel piece back up. And then here, this shield blade, whatever you call it, don't rotate it forward. I mean, you're going to have to take the long rotation. So now we're going to rotate it back, and then rotate it up, and then rotate it forward. And it needs to be in this position, arm down. This is forward, just to be able to fold this window piece out to the outside. And when you do, man, this tail piece just keeps catching here. Wait, let me see if I can come up just a little bit more. Okay, we're trying to rotate this out, but as you do, this piece is also going to come down. So you could see this hinge and this hinge. So now the clearance here, see that shoulder, you don't have that clearance. So basically you're rotating this, two things at the same time. And here, this is important to point out, this does tab in. You could see the little tab there. There's a little nub right there where my finger is. So you need to apply force to get this to tab in till you hear that snap. And make sure you're grabbing close to where it tabs in. And then once you get that, then you can bring this, straighten out this upper part. After that, then you can open up this piece, the 1, and then 2, and then rotate this whole thing around 180. And this is also going to get loose because you could see this doesn't tab in. So that's where this becomes very finicky as you're manipulating it, because things just move around on its own. So giving you the warning there ahead of time. And then after we got that, then now we can, let's see, grab a good position. So now, like I said, take the long rotation, rotate it up, And then when you have it up, this is the time to rotate, not here, the upper bicep. You want to rotate it around 180. So this, you know, the die cast is facing now the back. And then we can rotate this. Oh, I think I forgot a step here. My apologies. After you get that hand in, you need to rotate it this way. So I forgot that step. So you need to do that. Now back here, then this is where you need to rotate this around 180 when this is up. After you got that, then these propellers, you need to get them out of the way. So fold them out, and then you want to extend them out. And then that should give a little bit more room. See, it's catching. You don't have the clearance. So either way, you're still going to have to bend this plastic over plastic to get this over and across like so. And then coming to the back, now we need to fold the, see, this piece just moves around. Then you want to bend the elbow joint up, and the arm is going to rest in here next to this outer part, the shield or whatever you call this piece, like so. And then you can lift this arm up. So this piece is in the way. So this is what you're trying to do. So go ahead, do the same on this side. I'll do it off camera and be right back. Okay, so the same thing on this side, and maybe this time I won't forget that step. So the hands, open up the fingers, fold in the thumb, fold in the fingers, and then on the outer part, open up that panel, and then fold in the fist, and then close that up. After you close it up, and this is the part I forgot, you need to rotate this out, not up here, down here, the forearm, like so. And then come to this piece. You want to rotate this back, rotate this up, and then rotate this forward. And now we need to make sure we have the clearance here for this window piece. And if you remember, I told you you're bringing this down, but this piece is also going to come out at the same time. So bring this down, push the window out, bring this up, push the window out. And I already pointed out the little nub in the slot there. So push on the bottom till it snaps in place, like so. And then this piece here, you want to bring out the panel, and then bring out the second panel, and then rotate this around. And like I said, this doesn't lock in place, so this is gonna just come out of position later. And then when we're up here, rotate these sleds down, and then you want to bring them up, get some room here. And then we could complete this rotation up and then back, and there is some clearance issues here. And then you come to the back, and this is, oh, I forgot again, bring this back up. I forgot this step again. You want to rotate the bicep around 180, and then you can bring this down like so. And then coming to the back, and then lift this arm up at the bicep, not up here. It's a little hard manipulating this so that the arm is going to rest inside the arm piece here. Bring this arm up. See, it's that the silver die cast elbow joint, it's double jointed, so you need to get it on the upper part, like so. And then come back to the front and lift this up. And yeah, this thing, let me see if I can do something here yeah, okay, I'm gonna kind of like be at an angle because I don't have the room down here. So now after we got that, then this piece, like I said, you need the clearance. So bring this down. It only comes down so much. You just need to have some clearance. And then here now we can engage those butterfly joints to untab these. and you're bringing these arms forward. And now you could see this is what we got. And well, actually, I forgot a step here, another step. We need to bring this up. And as we're bringing this up, this shoulder piece needs to come down. So as you're bringing it up like so. So do the same on this side. So as you're bringing it up, you're bringing this shoulder piece down like so. And then you can rotate this around on this shoulder joint here. Bring these forward, both sides like so. And then on the bottom here, you'll see the die cast piece. Those need to be rotated around 180. This side's really loose, like so. Okay, so, and unfortunately this doesn't stay in place, so I'm gonna do my best to try to hold it as I do all of this. So just get yourself orientated. Here's the front, and then on the side you want to untab this side, this panel piece, just 90 degrees. Eventually it's going to go all the way, but just 90 degrees, and come to the other side, untab the other side as well. And then up here on the back, you could see where the two reds are, those mushroom tabs. You want to untab this, and you need to be careful because now this is going to start opening up. Okay, so bring these, come down. Here's the top, here's the center part, and then here's the front. And this front piece, this is on that white hinge armature piece that you want to extend this white piece out very carefully. You don't have the clearance, but basically you're trying to pull this out like so. And then after that, now I think we can come down here. Maybe it'll be a little bit easier now. Now you could see this is where we're at with this. This is, and then now we can come here and work on this top piece. This is just a really interesting design. So here you fold down these red pieces to have the clearance to rotate these the center white piece, and you need to rotate this around just to have the clearance right here, so this red piece can now fold in. You want to have the clearance right here. After you got one side, then you need to rotate this so that this side can go in. You need to have that clearance. And then after you got it, then here you could see these two little nubs right here. Those are locks here because it needs to be positioned here. And now we got this design thing done. And then here, this is where you need to rotate this down. This is on a double hinge here, so this comes rotating, and this piece, this top piece, these two panels come down. I mean, this one also is on a double hinge, but here I want to point out that eventually this is supposed to be straight, right? But if you put it straight and then you're trying to put it in, you could see the reviewer, that's why you don't have the clearance here. And that's not because it doesn't go in this way when it's straight. It needs to be bent down at an angle. So it needs to come down this way, go in this way, and then straighten out. And you need to have the clearance down here to bring this down. And then you could see how this is going to slide in underneath this propeller piece. Once you get it, then you could see now you straighten it out. So pointing out again, this is not straighten this out and then you're complaining that you can't get this in, because this needs to be bent down at an angle and then it needs to tuck in. That's the correct way to get this in safely. And then after you got that, then these pieces, you could bring these down. And then we can, from here, I guess we can, oh man, see, that's what I was telling you. These pieces, you saw me tab this in, and this just, like I said, as you're manipulating it, things just easily start coming untabbed. So now I'm having to get this tab piece to come back underneath here. So I'm trying to do this step all over because this, yeah, that's what I was telling you. You need to get that nice and flush. Okay, and then here now I'm going to point out, you could see these are like two little extension pieces. They're not actual tabs, but they actually go in and slide. And so now you just need to get this to go in here, and then it's going to slide up. But yeah, it's not going to really stay because all of these, the two sides and the front needs to be finished. But basically you're trying to get that in first, like so. And then now these arms, they got messed up because they're just always moving around in its own place. And now I just need to remember the correct position here. So let me come back. It's the arms here. They come forward, and this needs to be rotated. This needs to be, yeah, see, that's the frustrating thing here. This thing just moves around, so you lose where you're at. Okay, so now this is where we're at, and now we need to come here to the bottom and to the top of his chest. And so his head, you want to slowly and carefully pull under control to untab that head, the neck joint. And then you can now bring this top piece here, this white piece, and then there's two panels fold in and two panels fold out. So fold these outer ones in, and then in here you want to fold out these two panel pieces here. So fold in two on the top, fold out the two on the bottom. And then this here, now if you could see, this is going to be the bottom of the helicopter. And then just try to make sure everything is all in correct position. You could see his head is going to tuck underneath these two red pieces. And like I said, this, you don't have the clearance, but this is as far as it goes down. And here I want to point out just ahead of time so you know what you're doing. You see the tab here? It's supposed to go into the slot there. It's also the tab on also on the other side as well. And then now we need to get all of these pieces connected. So now we come to the front, and then there's three pieces here. Open this up, and lift this up. And then you need to get things situated where they're supposed to go. You're not really tabbing anything in yet. You're just trying to see things just move around so easily on its own is what makes this frustrating to transform. See, this panel folds down too. So you just need to be mindful of those things, and you just need to constantly be readjusting it as you're transforming, manipulating this. So you're trying to get it in the position that it needs to be in. You're trying to get it situated like this. And then now, let's see, this piece comes down to, now we want to bring up this tab here. And these two pieces here, they're supposed to tuck underneath inside here. So make sure, see, it easily goes in just from a little touch. So bring this up and make sure this is down, and you want to connect this first one. And then, okay, now we're getting closer to locking things in place. And then after we got that, then we could start slowly and carefully going back and forth, trying to make sure all of these pieces here are positioned where they need to be before you start tabbing things in or cleaning them up on camera. And like I said, also those red tabs that go into the slots on the arm, you just, here, if you see, I'm just explaining again what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just get everything in close proximity to where everything needs to be before I start tabbing everything in. Okay, so once we got that, now we can come here to the front. We got this, then we got this piece here, get the bottom. We're working our way to the back. And then here, this top piece, there's the tab you could see that's supposed to go in. And come to the other side, get this tab here. Where is it? To go in there. And then we're working our way back, and then here, make sure this goes in, and make sure these stay up, because you saw how they just keep falling down. And then if you tab this in and that's down, then you need to untab it to bring it back out. This is this is really annoying. Okay, so we got that, and then now see, we're working our way to the back, and then this top, now it gets more complicated. You could see there's a tab there, there's a tab there, and so now we're trying to carefully get these tabs up here to tuck underneath here, and then we're working our way down now. And here you could see the tab needs to go behind that red, and then you could see that red slot for the tab here. And so yeah, this part is a little tricky, because you need to apply force bending plastic over plastic just to get that tab to go in. And you see that it's in that tab is actually in that way. You need to get it up like so, and then come to the other side, do the same thing. There's that tab here, needs to go in, and then the bottom one, you could see it's catching on that red slot. So you need to, it's all this bending over plastic on this type of plastic, that you need to find a way to do this all very carefully. And you could see I got those all in. And if you did it all right, those tabs on the red piece that go into the arms, it should go in on its own if you did all of this. So again, now, so I'm working from the top here, and then the top, working our way to the back till the bottom. So that's the process, the step-by-step process. And then now these pieces, this one doesn't tab in very securely, but you could see the white tab here is for the red slots here. They don't tab in very securely, they just kind of sit in, but either way you're still going to have to apply some force to get that tab to line up on top, and it just sits there. It's not really going to stay in very well because it's not tolerance. And then you do the same on the other side and just give it a gentle squeeze. And here I'm just letting you know, you could see it's not flush. It's a little bit like at an angle. It's not straight, it's a little bit at an angle. But now we got that done. And after all of that, now I'm going to probably have to re-glue this area. Now we can attach the blade pieces. So here, this is pretty straightforward. You could see a tab, a slot, a tab, a slot. And tab that in. Grab the other one and find the tab and the slot on the bottom and tab that in. And then there's that other piece. I don't know where it went. Oh, it fell on the floor. You want to bring this piece out, and you could see it's like a key shape. So you just line that up accordingly and tab that in. And then we get his guns, and these are not as long as the other ones. So you could see on the legs, you could see this one's prone to breakage if you bending it this way. That's why you see me waggling this way, not this way. And this one, you could see it's thicker and it's shorter. So this one has less chance to break, but you still need to apply some force very carefully to get that in, as well as bringing it out. And then yeah, and now it's all adjusting all of this, and I forgot this last piece. There is a hook piece to connect these two. And then, like I said, you might have to readjust all of this, these things that just easily start moving out around on its own. And if you want, you can take the storage, his gun. You could see that plus shape. It will just simply fit in there like so, and it came out because I don't want to push it in all the way, because then it's going to be kind of harder to get that out. Or you can just leave it out because this is more tune accurate this way. And after all of that, now you could see we have blades in his alt mode.